Now I think it's arrived. This might be the most expensive game that I've ever spent my own money on. Stay tuned to the video, check out what it is. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Wizbit's Random Gaming and Thursday's video, Wizbit's Random Topics. So today we're going to be having a look at a few recent pickups. I don't really delve into the pickup side of things too much. I normally keep them to the end of my CEX type game hunt videos that you'll see on a Monday. But I've picked up quite a lot of stuff recently, and one of those games being the most expensive game that I personally have ever purchased. For me anyway, I'm not one of these people that spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds on video games, not individual ones anyway. I've got a few games that are quite expensive, and I've got nothing against people that do that. It's just that I don't really have the means to do so. Believe me, if I did, I most probably would spend an absolute fortune on video games, more so than I do now anyway. So if you've only just discovered the channel, please take the time to consider subscribing. It's much appreciated. Give us a like, give us a share, give us a comment. Let us know if you've got any of the games that I've picked up that I'm going to be showing you today. Also let us know if there's anything that you think I should be picking up on any systems as well. So we're going to get straight into it. We've got a variety of games here today. We've got one PlayStation 1 game, a few PlayStation 2 games, some Nintendo Wii U games. I'm really pleased to tick quite a few off the list as I am going for a full set, and a few other various systems, one or two 360 games, and maybe one or two PS4 games as well, and maybe a couple of PS5 games. The file's all here. I'm going to go through it. So let's start with the PS1 game that I recently picked up, and then we're going to get on to my recent Nintendo Switch pickups. So on the PlayStation 1, I was out with a few other content creators recently. We all headed down to Southend, and I managed to pick up quite a few good bits in the local CEX, which you'll see later on. They are more so to do with my Wii U pickups. But also there's a Base O there, which is an independent sort of tech shop. They're all over London, but this one in Southend kind of has a really strong retro section at the back of the shop. The ones that I'm used to within London and Essex, they focus more on tech, laptops, phones, and they do have the retro stuff, but not in great abundance, if I'm totally honest with you. But this place, I could definitely go in there and I can always pick up at least one game. And one game I did pick up. I'd already spent quite a bit in CEX, and I had another couple of things that I just recently ordered. So I wasn't really going to be buying too many other games that day. Also, I've got the London gaming market coming up, so I'm trying to balance what I'm spending. It's not working at the moment. Let's just put it that way. You'll see in here a couple of these games are quite expensive, but nevertheless, I picked this one up, and it is on the PlayStation 1, R-Types. Now R-Types is, I believe it's R-Type 1 and 2 on one disc. Not certain on that, but if I see something R-Type related on any system that I own, I'm more than happy to pick it up. R-Type is one of my favourite shoot 'em up series of all time, and at £20 I was really happy to pick this one up. It's complete, it's got the manual, and the disc is in really good condition. Now R-Type is a game that I've been playing for years, and I've never finished it until recently. So I'll leave a link below. Have a look at my unfinished business, episode 2, I believe, where I attempt to finish R-Type for the first time. I've already given a bit of it away. I did. But yeah, it took a long time to finish R-Type. I've finished other R-Type games since and before then. R-Type 2, R-Type Delta, R-Type Neo. Actually, I'm not sure if I finished that one. But yeah, for £20, I'm really happy to add this one into the collection. I don't collect too much for the PlayStation 1. I do like to buy, excuse me, I do like to buy select titles that have real great nostalgia to myself. So moving on to the Nintendo Switch section, probably the system I collect most actively for right now. I buy old games on the Switch and I continue to buy new stuff as well. And since I've recently, well, in the last year or so, I put trust in a lot of the pre-order games that come out. It was something that I was always a little bit, I didn't like the idea of giving someone my money and waiting on it. Some companies take a lot longer than others to actually deliver your product. But in order to get the games that I kind of want on the Switch, I'm going to have to do that. That's how I look at it. So I have recently ordered quite a few games from companies like Strictly Limited, Limited Run, and also, I can't think now. It'll come back to me. But let's get into the games anyway on the Nintendo Switch. Now this is one I picked up on eBay, and I picked it up at retail price actually, even though it's been out for some time. I picked it up at £35, brand new seal, and that is Soul Cresta. Now Soul Cresta is a shmup. I love my shmups, so when I saw it at retail price, considering it's been out for quite some time now, I was always going to pick this one up. It had a lot of hype around it when it was released. I remember a lot of YouTube videos were hyping it up, and it really did intrigue me. So to get it at this price was a no-brainer, and I was really happy to do so. I've played it, not extensively, but I have played it for a good few hours. I can confirm it's a very, very good game. Is it as good as it was hyped up to be? Well, I guess that's going to be down to your personal preference, but myself, I don't think it is. But it's still, nevertheless, a very good game, and one that I'm really happy to have in the collection. Soul Cresta on the Nintendo Switch. Now, I done a video on this a little while back. The video did quite well, and I haven't finished it yet, and I'm around about on world 6 or 7. It's something I'm going to return back to, I think over this weekend actually. I'm quite enjoying it, and I did buy it at full price on day of release. Now when I say I bought it at full price, I had quite a few CEX vouchers, and my local CEX occasionally, they do buy in brand new stock. The franchise owner will buy the games on the day of release, and I noticed on the app on day one that my particular local branch had 4+ copies in stock, and which was a bit confusing at the time until I got down there, spoke to one of the staff that I know regular, and he said yep, they had them in on the day brand new sealed. Now I had loads of vouchers, so I didn't mind picking this one up. I've done a bit of flipping on that week. I bought a few games from the Game Collection website, pretty much doubled my money there with them, and that gave me just £40 to £50 in vouchers alone on £15 to £20 spent. So I went out and pretty much traded them games straight in and came home with Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Now I was never really going to pick this one up if I was going to have to use cash, but I was really intrigued to play the game as I believe it should have been played. It looks great. It looked good on the Nintendo Wii, if I'm honest with you, but the controls kind of made it quite awkward, and yeah, I don't think I played any more than an hour on the Nintendo Wii, and I think that's where the game fell down. Not a lot of people would recognise it as a good game. Hopefully now people will play this game and realise it's actually a really good entry into the franchise itself. So next on the list is one that I've been wanting to play and own for some time. I have played all the way through it. It's a good game, and it's almost, I would say, a return to form for the franchise itself. Now the unfortunate thing is, it came out at a similar sort of time when there's a couple of other games out there that are doing the same sort of genre, and unfortunately they're doing it better than what one of the originals currently are. And that game is Contra Operation Galuga. Now this is a good game, don't get me wrong. It does what Contra is meant to do. It takes you back to the basics. It looks nice, although I have nicknamed it Mobile Contra for the reason it does have that sort of mobile phone game look about it. But once you get past that, there is a really solid game here. It's not as difficult as previous entries into the Contra series, and for that reason I found it quite enjoyable. I find all of them enjoyable, but this one I managed to get through and play the entire game within a week. But yeah, Contra Operation Galuga. It's a good game. If you can pick it up at a price that you're content with, I'd highly recommend it. I picked mine up from Play Asia, and I probably paid around about £45 for it. Is it worth that? It's all dependent on your preference. I'll probably play through it again and again, as I really do like this genre of games, and for that reason I probably will get my money's worth. Okay, so I picked this one up recently whilst I was out and about in a local CEX. I've been umming and ahhing about it on the PlayStation 5 and the Switch. I know it's quite a short game, which is why I didn't really want to pick it up using cash. Again, I used vouchers for this one. I've been slowly accumulating vouchers every couple of weeks, so I've always got something in my wallet, CEX voucher wise, in case there's a purchase that I want to make. And that is Joe and Mac Caveman Ninja. Now, Joe and Mac Caveman Ninja was a game that I remember very, very fond memories of. I grew up playing it in the arcade. Caveman Ninja was something we used to laugh at, the entire whole absurdity of it. And then when you actually put your 20 pence in and play it, there's absolutely no sign of any ninja moves whatsoever. But yeah, it was a really fun game. The graphics, the animations that your character makes within the game, it was very appealing, and especially to kids of our age when that came out. I mean, we would have been around about 12 to 13 maybe. And yeah, it came out on various other systems as well. The ports, most one that people know would be the Super Nintendo one, and it's a really, really good port. So yeah, it's one that has aged really well in my opinion. Now, the remake, which I've got here, I've been playing it ever so briefly, and first impressions, I will be going back and playing this game some more, so I don't know yet, are that, I don't know, it's a bit slow, and it's not as much fun as the original, which is a shame really, because in this day and age when you've got, you know, all the new software that these developers have and the new skills, you would think that if they're remastering a game, they should be improving upon it, not making it a lesser game. And hopefully my mind can be changed on this one, but at this moment in time, with the limited amount of gameplay that I've played within this game, I'd have to say it's a slight disappointment. But £15, it's not too bad a purchase. Now, one that came through the post recently from Limited Run Games, in fact the next two games are from Limited Run, and I've played one of them and one I have yet to play yet. The first one I've been enjoying, it's quite good fun. Originally I believe it was a Game Boy Advance game, and that is Ninja 5-0. Now Ninja 5-0 is quite shinobi-esque at times, and I've played it for about 2 hours so far, so I really do need to sink my teeth into this one a little bit more before I give a definitive verdict on it. The the 2 or 3 hours that I put into it, I've had a lot of fun with it, and it's really the kind of game that I grew up playing. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to playing a bit more of this one, Ninja 5-0. This one, if you're going to be looking for this one now, probably going to have to buy it on the reseller market, and good luck with that one, because we all know 9 times out of 10 when these games from limited run end up on that particular market, you're probably going to be paying maybe double to what it originally came out at retail. However, I don't know, this one might come out as it might get a wider retail release, who knows. Now the second one that I've recently got through from limited run games is Penny's Big Breakaway. Now I don't know a great deal about this, other than a couple of people that I know told me after I pre-ordered it that a lot of respected game journalists had it quite high on their game of the year. I had no idea. I don't really look at too much game journalism, but I was quite pleased and a little bit more excited about the purchase once I did hear that. I kind of bought this one on a bit of a whim. I don't know much about the game. I watched a little bit of gameplay and it looked okay, and I just went ahead and pre-ordered it. I wasn't excited for it at all. When it came through, still wasn't excited. And if I'm honest with you, it's not that high up on my list of games that I'm going to be playing anytime soon. But yeah, I will get round to it. From my understanding and from what I've looked at, it's kind of like the 64 type era platformers, the 3D stuff. For it to get such high praise as what I'm hearing it's been getting, however, I would imagine that it's not going to have those notorious bad camera angles. Another one I picked up recently, and another Play Asia delivery, is I got the special edition of this. I'm not going to show the whole special edition because I can't be bothered to get the box out per se, but I picked up Thunder Ray. Now if you like the punch out games, this one is a no-brainer. You should have this in your collection. I played it for a good couple of hours, and I went into it kind of with a punch out mentality, thinking in my head it's going to be exactly the same game. It's not. It looks the same, kind of controls the same, but it is a different game, and for that reason I got beaten all over the ring from pillar to post on many occasions on this game when I first started playing it. You do have to concentrate, you do have to learn what's going on within your surroundings before you're going to make any kind of progress. Again, it's quite a short game, however there is some DLC as well, just to give it a little bit more of a lifespan. Now, odd story, I thought I purchased this on the eShop probably about 6 months ago. I saw it really cheap at around about £2, £2.50, and I jumped on it, not actually reading what I was doing, and all I did was pick up the DLC for that really cheap price. So that was a unexpected bonus in a way. Once I got the game, the DLC was already there waiting for me, so it felt like a much fuller experience. But anyway, if you like your punch out games, Thunder Ray on a Nintendo Switch, I highly recommend it. Now I thought I had this game in my collection, but someone posted it on a Discord that I'm a member of recently and showed it at a really, really cheap price. When I saw it at that price, I double checked my Game Watch app that I use just to see what I've got and what I don't have, and I was surprised to see that I don't own it. I do own it digitally, but I didn't own the physical one. I always thought I did, just goes to show. And this game was £35. It is a US import, but at £35 for the US import, I thought this was a very good price, as it does tend to go for a little bit more from what I've seen all over the internet. That is the Capcom Fighting Collection Volume 1. We've got Volume 2 coming out quite soon, which I'm quite excited for, and I'm definitely going to be purchasing. The fact that I didn't own this one physically and I'm going to be buying the second collection, probably I'm going to pre-order that. That definitely made me pick up the physical version as well, because I want to own as many of these collections as possible for as long as Capcom keep releasing them. Now, shout out to my friend Harvest over on Discord. Shout out to you, mate. Gave me a great deal on this one. I've played through this, not all the way through, but I had a lot of fun with this on Game Pass a long while ago. And shout out to my friend Callum over at the Retro Ghetto. He has spoken about this game on a number of occasions, and I fully agree with him. One of the best modern retro games in recent years. And I think most shops have kind of clocked onto that. There was a point where it was maybe a £12 game. That's no longer the case. It's, you know, looking at 35 to 40 now. I'm sure some sellers are probably selling it for a little bit more. But anyway, I got this for £25 from a good friend, and that is Infernax. Now, I highly urge you guys to go out there and check this game if you haven't already heard of it. Very much a Metroidvania type game, but even though I do get a bit tired of the continuous backtracking on those sort of games, this is one that I'm quite enjoying, and it doesn't feel like a chore having to go backwards and forwards. That's always been the key thing for me with those games. If it feels like I'm not having fun, keep going backwards, keep going forwards, it puts me off. However, with this one, not the case. Pick it up if you see it at a price you guys are happy with. Right, so on the PlayStation 3, we have a loan purchase on the PlayStation 3, I believe. Yes, just the one. Now, I've been intrigued by this game for some time. I like beat 'em ups, and there's not a great deal of beat 'em ups on the sort of Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 eras. So it's that genre that kind of was forgotten about a little bit until recent years. And this one, I got this for £25. Again, I was using vouchers in a recent CEX, and that is Watchmen, The End Is Nigh, Part 1 and Part 2. Now, I actually didn't mind the Watchmen film itself. I don't know a great deal about the comics themselves, so whether or not they were massively faithful to the source material, I don't know. Maybe that stood me in good stead so that I could enjoy the film. However, what I will say about the game itself, it starts off very clunky. I'll be honest, within 5 to 10 minutes of playing this, I thought to myself, I think I picked up a bit of a duffer here. It doesn't play that well. But the more I got through the first 2 levels, I got used to what was going on. The controls seemed to get easier, and it felt like an okay game. It's nothing to write home about, let's not kid ourselves here. But it's an okay entry into a genre which is quite lacking throughout the entire generation that I mentioned earlier. So for that reason, I'm going to be carrying on with this game. It's currently the game I'm playing, and yeah, it's actually getting better and better. Watchmen, The End Is Nigh, Part 1 and Part 2. Now, this was a recent pickup for me. I own the original. I think everyone has owned the original at one point or another. And this particular steelbook is one that I owned many, many years ago. And at a point when I sold my collection, I moved it on. And I've been looking for it ever since because I really like this game. And I always thought, I've got it. It's like a £1-2 game on the 360. And even the steelbook is only maybe £6. Every time you see that particular steelbook, it is always rusted, it's worn, it's torn, it's battered. Personally, I've never seen one since I sold mine. It was in good condition. So yeah, I was having some regret thinking that I might not ever get this one. But shout out to one of my friends, Benny, who saw it in one of his local CEXs. He kind of knew that I was looking out for this. He messaged me and said, did I want it? I trusted his judgment on it, and wow, once it arrived, I will say that it's in better condition than I thought it would be. It's in better condition than the photos he sent me. The photos didn't do it justice, And that game is John Woo's Stranglehold on the Xbox 360. Now, I was a fan of this game when it came out. I run through it probably within a week, and I was quite surprised, to be honest with you, how quick this became one of those kind of budget titles on the Xbox 360. Definitely underrated game, probably a little bit underappreciated as well, and I'm really happy to have this steelbook back in the collection. So we are going to go into one PlayStation 4 game that's recently come through. I have 3 PlayStation 5 games as well. The PlayStation 4 game that I picked up is Dragon's Crown Pro. As you can see, I haven't opened this one yet. I have played it previously on Game Pass. It's not a bad game. Will I be playing it anytime soon? It's not high on the list. But yeah, like I said, it's got that beat 'em up element to it, and a lot of games around about the PS3, 360 kind of era, and early into the PS4. I don't think that genre is very well represented. That has changed in recent years, so I'm still quite happy to have this one, and I can definitely envision myself flipping this one on just when I want a little bit of mindless fun. Now, a few PlayStation 5 games that I've got here. Now, I started this one the other night. It's kind of like a Mega Man-ish vibe. It's a bit of Shinobi. It's modern retro. Now, initially, I'll be honest, I'll be going back to this one. I played it for about an hour. It looks fantastic from the trailer. I know there's a good game in there. I found it quite difficult to get into initially. I thought it was going to be quite pick up and play. From my experience anyway, that wasn't the case. And that game is Chronicles of Heroes 2. I think there's definitely a good game in here. Let me know in the comments if any of you have got this game. If you have, let me know, did you struggle to get into this game? From what I've watched, I thought it was just going to be very much a pick up and play thing. But I don't know, I struggled with the controls a little bit. It just doesn't resonate with me just yet. Now, I love the genre. The genre is definitely a bit of me all day long. So this is definitely one I'll be going back to this weekend at that as well. I will be going back to this one to try it out. Not many copies of this about on the internet, to be honest with you. Amazon has got a couple of copies here and there. I don't know if this one is listed in CEX. I haven't seen it. And strange thing, I would have preferred it on a Nintendo Switch, but Amazon were charging like £14 or £15 for delivery, and delivery was 2 weeks or something like that. So I didn't quite work that out. The PlayStation 5 version was £15 cheaper and free delivery. So I'm gonna stick with that. So it was around about £19, £22, something around that kind of mark with free delivery. There would have been a time I wouldn't have gone anywhere near this, just due to the fact I don't really care for the PlayStation 5 at one point anyway. So I'm starting slowly but surely to pick up more PlayStation 5 games, and I'm starting to get my money's worth out of it. So I thought to myself, yeah, I don't mind owning this on the PlayStation 5. So Chronicles of Heroes 2. Let me know if you've played this one, and let me know if it's definitely a game that's, I don't know, a little bit of a slow burner maybe. So I did recently go down to Southend, and we went in their CEX. So if anyone knows and you haven't watched my videos before, this year I've made the decision to go for a full Wii U set. Yeah, very questionable life choice. I'm going to be buying some questionable games if I do manage to complete that set. I'm around about 77 to 80 odd games in, give or take. I've got a few that a couple of my friends will be given to me once I meet them at the next London gaming market. So that's why I'm kind of not sure of the exact number. I can't remember who's picked up what for me, but I'll have a better idea in March. But to find 4 games in one CEX branch that I need, quite rare that happens, if I'm honest with you. So it was a no-brainer. I was picking all of these games up, regardless. There's nothing here that's going to blow you away, but when you should bear in mind that I'm going for the full set, you've got to understand you don't see these games too often. The Wii U sections in CEXs and most of your indie shops, to be quite honest with you, are quite scarce. They're very small. So if you see them, you've got to pick them up as and when. So the games I picked up, we've got Call of Duty Ghosts. I'll probably never play this one. Not a fan of Call of Duty. But hey ho, it's in the collection. We've got Resident Evil Revelations. Now I've got this on other systems, I've played it. It's not a bad entry into the franchise. It's definitely not one of the better ones. We have Deus Ex Human Revolution. Don't see this one too often on the Wii U, so I was quite pleased to see this. Snapped it up. It was probably the first one that I definitely made my mind up that I was picking up on the day. And we have Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Not a fan of the franchise really. I didn't even like the initial entry into the franchise. Found it quite boring. From that point on, how many entries do we have now? About 712? Something like that. But yeah, so they've never really took my fancy, these games. There's not many on the Wii U, so I think I've got them now. I think maybe there's 2 or 3. I think that is the little Wii U subset of Assassin's Creed games, fully complete. But to get 4 games from one particular shop, I thought that was a bit of a result. I can't argue with that. The other 2 Wii U games that I picked up, I've done a video last week on that, so I won't really talk about them too much. We've got Game and Wario. And this heavy hitter, if you haven't seen my video, the most expensive, or sorry, not expensive, the most rare Wii U game, in my opinion, Grad. I picked this up on CEX's website. I've never seen this one in stock, so once I got a wind, I didn't even get the alert. I've got it there, but it just didn't get through to me. But once I saw it there, I had to order this one straight away. Financially, I wasn't really in a position where I wanted to. It's not a cheap game on the Wii U, but I didn't want to miss out on this one. If I missed out on the CEX price, I would probably be paying closer to £200 for this game. I'm not even massively happy with what I paid for it anyway on the CEX website. But yeah, I'm still very happy to tick this one off the list, as I always envisioned it was going to be one of the more difficult ones. So we're going into PlayStation 2 games now, and that is where we will end up. The final game that I will show you will be the one, the most expensive game that I personally have ever purchased. I'm not showing you straight away. First game I picked up, and I keep walking past this game all the time, Alien Hominid. Is that how it's pronounced, Hominid? I remember playing this on the 360 Xbox Live when it first came out. It's really good fun, but boy is it difficult, especially for the sort of game that it is. It's definitely going to need a lot of practice. I think it's one of those games where you're going to have to memorize every section of every level in order for you to make any progress. But it's still definitely a fun game, one that I'm definitely going to need to practice before I go back and give it a real serious effort. We've got Slip Heed, The Lost Planet. Now I absolutely hate this cover, this variant, but I don't see this out and about too much. And a PS2 shmup at around about £12, I'm never going to say no. Me and my son was playing this, even he enjoyed it. So yeah, quite happy with this one. Not so happy with this hot price cover. Now I was out and about at Nerdbase recently with a few other content creators. Shout out to Roger Retro, aka the Retro Hulkster. He convinced me to pick this one up. I keep walking past it. And at £12, great condition, I picked up Killer 7. Now I was always going to be picking up Killer 7 on the PlayStation 2 and never the actual GameCube version, because that goes for £40, and as far as I'm aware it's the same game. So now we picked up Resident Evil Outbreak as well. Now, I've never actually played this one. I remember it didn't come out to great reviews, but I love Resident Evil stuff, so it was a no-brainer. I saw it in there. It's complete, good condition, and I picked this up on the same day that I picked up the Wii U stuff from Southend. Now, 2 beat-em-up games on the PlayStation 2 that I recently picked up. Very similar in nature. I've been playing both of them, and I've made a decision on what one I think is the better of the two. But let's go into the games first anyway. So the first one is Beatdown, Fists of Vengeance. Very similar to the Final Fight game that came out on the OG Xbox and the PS2. Is it a better game? I don't know. I think that Final Fight game gets a lot of hate that it shouldn't do. But so far so good. A little bit clunky. It's kind of like a better version of the Bouncer. Now, quite similar, but this one, in my opinion, so far is a lot more fun, is Namco's Urban Reign. So I was playing this one this morning. I only picked this one up 3 or 4 days ago, so I've only just got round to having a go of it. It's a lot of fun. The combos that you pull off in it, a lot of fun. It looks great. I'm just wondering if I'm going to get bored of it anytime soon, because it looks like there's no real side scrolling. It's kind of like almost a one-on-one fighting game where you're just going into scenarios where you're facing 1 or 2 people, 3 or 4 people. You've got to beat them, and that's the mission done. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if this game changes. Does it have any more variety than that? It does get difficult, actually. I got up on my first couple of goes. I think I got to around about mission 10 or 11. And then I was fighting 4 guys, and they literally just hammered me for about 4 or 5 goes in a row. That was enough for me to turn it off and think, I'll come back to that one. Last 2 before I actually get into PlayStation 2 game. I did forget to mention these. Red Art Games is similar to like Strictly Limited games and limited run games and stuff like that, but they have some of the more lesser known titles, and they have got a series of games called Rag Indies. Now, I picked up 3 or 4 of these not too long ago on a sale. I wasn't that impressed, but I was talking to a friend of mine, Dylan, aka Hyper Trigger X, Captain Enabler, shall we call him. He loves to mention games and get me to spend money that I just don't really have. But I'm still very thankful for all the recommendations that he gives me. He hinted to me that I should really be going for one of these complete subsets, to which I completely dismissed. And within a day or 2, I found myself with 7 out of the 8 titles. And I just need to order the 8th one now. I'm on top of it. Let's get into it anyway. Haven't played this one yet. Planet Cube Edge. It's made in a sort of Game Boy type look. It's got the Game Boy colours and all that kind of thing. It's a run-gun type of platformer from what I understand. I can't really say much about it. It looks good. That's why I decided to pick this one up before a couple of the other games in the series. I'll let you know as and when I play it. Now, another shmup as well, Red Raptor. Now, I had a lot of fun with this game. It's got a lot of rogue type elements to it, which I normally don't like. But on this occasion, I quite enjoyed it. The levels were not boring. But it is quite a short game. And it can get difficult until you power yourself up. If you don't power yourself up correctly with the coins that you get. See, this is a shoot 'em up, a shmup that we're talking about here. These kind of elements you don't normally get in that kind of game. Then you will find it quite difficult to progress through campaign mode. But yeah, Red Raptor. These games are only £20 as well. I think it's a really good game. If you like your shmups, definitely got that sort of classic shmup feel about it. But just be warned on this one anyway. It's quite a short game, so how often you'll play it, I don't know. It's only got 5 levels, and they're not particularly long. Right, okay. So the final game and the most expensive game that I've ever purchased is on the PlayStation 2. Now, these games are everywhere now. It's not rare. It probably never was rare, to be quite honest with you. It just had that sort of stigma about it. And I saw it recently. I've been umming and ahhing about picking it up off of eBay for quite some time. And the seller that had it sold out. So my umming and ahhing, I thought to myself, you've missed out, get over it. But they've been dropping this game again in dribs and drabs. So they're releasing, I don't understand the logic behind it, but they're doing it that way. And the other day they released another free. It came up on my watch alert on eBay. And I thought, why not? The most expensive game I have ever purchased myself. It's a lot more to buy in CEX, and it is the UK copy of Rule of Rose. So yeah, looking at what CEX sell this for, if it's the European version, it goes for around about just under 300. I think this one is around about 400, give or take, because it's the UK version. I haven't made my mind up yet. Am I going to keep this one sealed or not? I'm not really that guy that keeps games sealed. I like to play them. And this is the first game I've ever sat and looked at and thought to myself, I might just keep this one sealed and maybe emulate it and just get the gameplay experience that way. I haven't made my mind up yet. But yeah, I'm really happy to have this one in the collection. It's not a rare game, it's common. You go to CEX now, you'll probably find 2 or 3 copies of this in most of your CEXs, and that is because of the Italian seller that somehow randomly came across a whole batch of these sealed. They were selling them, if you don't know the story, and whilst they were still expensive, they was very much a lot cheaper than what CEX were at one point paying and selling this game for. So people obviously clocked onto it, started purchasing them in droves and trading them into CEX and building up that credit voucher, you know. And it worked for a lot of people that I know. They were doing it, and it worked for a lot of people that I don't know, because you can see now, just go to CEX and you'll see just how many games, copies rather, of this are in stock. They have since clocked on. It took them a while. They've put the figures down now, so the buying price and the credit price kind of tallies up to the point where you think it's not really worth it. You've got to take that risk. You've got to think, am I going to get the UK version that I can get a lot more for? Am I going to get the European version, which, you know, you're barely going to make anything on a credit note with CEX? So I didn't buy it for that. I bought it to have in the collection. I'm really happy to have it. I've heard the camera angles are terrible on it. I've heard it's got a good story though. So yeah, haven't made my mind up whether I'm going to open this one or not. I'm probably leaning towards opening it at some point and potentially doing a walkthrough, a stream of it. But yeah, let me know in the comments, what would you guys do? Would you open this game or would you leave it sealed? Anyway guys, thank you for checking out my most recent pickups. If you haven't already, like I said at the beginning of the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's much appreciated. We've just hit 3,000 subscribers. I never thought I'd get to that stage in my entire life. I started this thing out as a little bit of a hobby, something to sidetrack me from day-to-day life, and to get where we are right now, it's amazing. I didn't think it would ever happen. So yeah, if you could please take the time to consider subscribing to the channel, give us a like, give us a share, all that good stuff. It's much appreciated. Hitting the like button as well, it really helps with the visibility of my content. So please, that is really appreciated. Leave a comment below, let me know what you think about what I've picked up. Any games that you think I should have just left on the shelf, it's all appreciated. I love everyone's opinion, and I'll always do my best to get back to you. In the meantime guys, you take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye bye for now.